Guys, we're back. The Matt Chat Podcast. Paul Ciotto, Cuzzy Frank Ciotto, the Red Man, Blue Eyes, Christopher Joseph Shea, Peter Olberg, and his assistant, Leroy.
And don't forget our girl, Jessie.
Yes. Doing the sound, I think, right? That so on and so forth?
Hold on, listen. Yep, there she is. That's the
right.
sound.
Fashion coordinator.
Didn't Peter make a comment on a previous episode about the domestic terrorist, Bruce Springsteen, writing?
That's right. Yes, he did. He most certainly did.
Does that song have anything to do with from domestic terrorists writing the lyrics of that song by any chance?
Did you hear today's episode?
What do you mean?
That's playing? Matt Chat?
Of course I did.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
of course
right.
I did. Yeah. Yep, of course I did. And it disgusts me. In fact, other things that disgust me, it's funny that we're talking about things that disgust me because the other day I was walking through New Fairfield and I was actually at the grocery store and believe it or not, a couple people come up to me and were inquiring, believe it or not, as to...
About what now?
Yeah. No. Actually, they enjoyed the podcast and they're wondering where we are with all the New Fairfield stuff. What's going on with the football? Like, because I guess we never had a conclusion. They just were like, okay, did anything happen? Is anything rectified? Or is it just typical normal BS? And I said, I'm not going to tell you. Tune into the next podcast and we'll address it.
Oh, wow.
So there's my question. I want to know, other people want to know, where are we at? Were the wrongs made right? Or is it just typical drive forward like New Fairfield always does?
Well, I'm glad we're veering from the topic matter we were supposed to talk about. But I'm glad. Yeah. Put it in a nutshell. I mean, first and foremost, I want to say off the bat, I don't give a fuck. I mean,
I get it.
I don't give a fuck. Well, I'm in a different place. Those boys are in a much better place. They're killing it at the next level. They're doing what they got to do. I mean, that whole experience was a learning experience for everybody involved. Sort of try and break down your question bit by bit. Were the wrongs made right? Absolutely not. There was nothing. Any of the wrongs that were done were not made right, and that has to do with that goes from the sitting AD there right now, the former principal who's gone, who they promoted. I have no idea how you promote a jackass like that after what he did and didn't do. The sitting superintendent now, who basically came into the situation, what was going on, and then joined right in, circling the wagons with the good old boy system there, and did nothing with the scenario. The inflammatory party, the sitting gridiron president, she knows damn well what she did and what she continues to do. No, none of the, and as far as the coaching staff.
So it's just business as usual.
Yeah, business as usual. I mean, the coaching staff. Listen, do I need to insult them more than I have? And
Well, their record, I think, stands for
do
itself.
I need to insult them as men, human beings, and coaches more? No. I mean, like you said, the record stands for themselves, and so none of those wrongs that happened in the process were made right, even though we had definitive fact and proof that these things were done. It's how do you put it? Disgusting?
It's a shame.
It's a shame,
right? I mean, it's disgusting. It's a shame.
We're prepared to protect everybody else's rights for all the weird shit. But when it comes to
it goes even to. I mean, you see things that go on organically from that town, and it comes like specifically because of the really bad situation that transpired with everyone there. With that class and those players and the admin and coaches. Then the following year, rebel pride, rebel family, and everything's, come on. You want to put propaganda out there to try and manipulate the real tone of what happened? Yeah. I mean, it's disgusting. I mean, then you've got passive-aggressive assholes who put stuff on social media who I called out a bunch of times who, I either sent messages or called on the phone or, if I ran into them, they got it.
For those of you that don't know what they got it is, it's just a tongue lashing, in case you're wondering, with the potential for violence if necessary.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, and that's still an open thing for me.
Right.
It's that part of it is never going to die for me, never going to die.
But watch this. Anytime someone attacks your own child, it doesn't die.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care who you are. I don't care what side of this you're on.
Right.
If someone attacks your child and you just say, okay, no big deal, then you're a pussy. Because if you attack my child, I will hold a grudge until I die.
Right.
With the hopes of bad shit happening to you.
Yeah, no.
That's just me, though.
Well, that's old school. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, and forget about my own child, but those boys are all my boys.
Right.
So if you attack one, you attack them all.
Right.
You know, in no particular order. You know, so for me, I agree 1,000% with your statement. And you know, listen, you follow the rules, you follow the protocols, you follow their system to get circle jerked for 2 years. And I think that the funniest part and the most, the funniest part was in the last roundabout, for lack of a better term, was they passed it off to an assistant superintendent. Was a nice gentleman. No complaints there with him. And went in there and he blew smoke up everyone's ass and was very concerned of what had happened and how do we fix this and so on and so forth. And what they did and what they usually do in these type of bureaucracies with school systems and everything else is they don't listen to the actual complaints, problems, and facts. They twist it, okay, and adjust it so they can deem what those facts, those
Right.
things are. And
Well, 'cause
then
they're just trying to nullify it.
right.
That's it.
And what they did was then all of a sudden, so you have this meeting and then fast forward 2.5 months. No, you don't hear from them. No emails, no phone calls, no anything. And at the end of the day, they come up with their own census. They come up with a questionnaire, and they get this questionnaire out, and they basically take the questionnaire, and they only have the class that's there now. You know, that the one that just graduated and the classes that are there.
And the class where the bad stuff happened, they don't even question it.
No. So the questionnaire goes out to the class that just graduated and everyone behind them, and none of it was given to the class where
all the
everything
bad
was
stuff
done.
happened, yeah.
And the questionnaire was so biased and so like they were leading questions. And I can say this because legal counsel looked at the questionnaire
Right.
and said, "Oh wow, really?" So like one of the questions, for instance, was, "Tell us about the great experience you had."
Yeah.
Okay, come on. Well, how about why don't you tell us what your experience was like?
Yeah.
I mean, it was rampant throughout the questionnaire. So it was like at the end of that roundabout, it's like, okay, great, thank you for your time and effort, but we didn't ask for a questionnaire. You know, we asked for solutions to the issues and the problems. So lo and behold, you get that, and what they do is, listen, it's what they've done from the beginning, and they'll do it any problem. So anyone out there from that town involved in that school district and that system, remember one thing, if you come there with a real issue, they will just push it out and push it out and push it out and hope that you won't last the test of time.
Right.
And you won't continue to persist. Well, they made the mistake when they poked these bears, understand that the test of time is infinite. You know what I mean? So just because it's quiet now doesn't mean it's going to be quiet forever.
You guys are herpes.
Yeah, we don't
You
go away.
you'll just sit there
Yeah,
all day, and
doesn't
then
go
when
away.
you want to come out, you just
Right.
come out.
You know, and it's really what. Listen, it's a funny.
I'm not- I didn't say I'm
comparison.
laughing.
Yeah, you know, it's a funny comparison. So, you know, it's at that point, you know, where you're like, you're sitting here and being intelligent individuals and everyone involved, you know, you sit there and you look at it and you try to process it and you say, you can't. It's
the bizarro world.
Thank you. You just pull.
It's
you
the
pulled it out of my mouth.
bizarro world.
He pulled it out of my mouth, you know. And then, you know, it gets even the funnier parts. I use the word as humor or describe it as humor because it's all I can do at this point. Like, as the you know, the favorite class and the dream team, as they like to call themselves, and everything else, and, you know, and the chosen ones, whatever you want to call them, as they move through into their athletic careers and whatnot. You know, in the town paper they have their, you know, hey, this athlete signing, and that's great for any of those kids. I mean, straight up.
For the
That's
record,
it.
this is
Yeah.
nothing against those kids.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
So-
please know that. This is nothing against those kids. This is against the administration who
Yeah.
doesn't, you know, they pick and choose who they want to.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
coaching. But again, it's great for any kid. I don't care what sport it is, and they should have that moment. Any one
Absolutely.
of
They
them
deserve the
deserve
moment.
the
They work hard, they put
But
the
the
work
funny
in. So.
part, the funny part was that, you know, a year ago we had 5 guys go to play college football, and one coach came to one of the signings. You know, now you go and, you know, we saw the one that, you know, we had one big one in the paper, and you know, and guess what? Head coach is there, defensive coach is there.
Do you think maybe-
offensive coordinator's there?
Because of the stink
know.
that got made and et cetera, now they're trying.
To
They
improve
can't
it?
they can't make right on what's done already. So loud, like even if it is just a show, like hey, if there's someone getting a sign in, make sure everybody's there. Type
No,
deal,
no,
or-
it's listen, it was here's the thing. I don't dispute that.
I'm
maybe
playing
that-
devil's
no,
advocate, yeah.
I'm not disputing that maybe is part of it. Okay,
Listen, hey, listen,
but I'm
guys.
going to extrapolate more on why that's probably not the case. There was only one put in the paper because when that happened, administration was notified about it.
Right.
All of a sudden, yeah, now you got everyone there. You know, those boys have never been congratulated. They've never been, X, Y, and Z, and you guys all know the story. I don't need to go back on it. But here it's like, boom, here you go. It's like every time you say here, this is what you're complicit. These are our complaints, and here's a perfect example of what we're talking about. Even when it's right there in front of you in a picture, in the town paper, you got an explanation for it. I mean, how? I mean, the bizarre world.
It's the bizarre world.
So
It's in plain print, yet.
plain print and pictures, but more importantly, the actions.
Right.
The actions are so much different, and always have been, for that group compared to the group that left. And it was relevant, and it was blatant, and it just continued moving forward, and it's again the propaganda and the manipulation and like again, listen, in that town, they're so short-sighted and small-minded about the realities of what goes on post there that that's their moment. A lot of those people, that administration, coaches, that's their moments in life. They don't have anything greater than that,
Right.
So it's like, all right, well, I guess you gotta embrace it, and it is what it is. But like, don't ever think that you made right, And I specifically, because there's a couple of coaches who are my friends, believe it or not, that
Or not.
are.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Who I have had.
You still have relationships with to this
private
day.
conversations
I saw some
with.
people at your party.
Yeah, private conversations with, and they inquire once in a while about the boys, But I said, at the end of the day, none of you made this right. Period. None of you did. None of you checked the head coach for what he did. None of you checked yourselves for what you've done. So at the end of the day, I can respect you for being what you are right now, but I don't respect you for your lack of action as to when it pertained to this particular circumstance.
Right.
So, I'm not going to pat you that hard in the back, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it is. It's the difference between saying something and doing something. So,
Well, they never said they were going to do anything. I mean, listen, we went down the road. I'm not going to waste airtime on the fact that, that apologies were never done. I never got an apology. Okay? The other parent never got an apology. Other parents are getting apologies. My son got a half-assed one because it was forced to be done. And then got lied to 2 times afterwards about that, as it went on. So, again, water on the bridge, I really don't give a shit, but I'm going to give you the facts. I'm not going to spit out emotion. I'm going to spit out what happened and
Right.
how it took place.
Or what didn't happen.
What didn't happen. And the greatest crime to all of this is that you've got a group of boys, student athletes, now collegiate student athletes, who will never go back there, who have such a disdain for everything there and that staff and what and so forth. They'll never go back there. And these are some of the most honorable, hardworking boys
That can offer something to younger kids.
that are all going into
Yeah.
their second year of playing college football. You know what I mean? So
Congratulations,
yeah.
man. That's
So
great.
so my point is, that's the crime, and the fact that nobody there, not one of those guys in that staff stood up and said, you know what, this is fucked up. Okay, I don't care what your issues are. I don't care. You made mistakes. We made mistakes. That has to be rectified, and that
For the boys' sake.
listen
For the children.
for the children.
For the children.
But from a standpoint of
For the children.
awesome. From a standpoint of, and it wasn't made to be rectified from the highest level to the lowest, and that's why it's the greatest crime. They all made, we got a once that survey came out and then it was reviewed and we sent back a response to how ridiculous it was, and then we got a letter, 3 or 4 weeks later from the superintendent and. Normal nonsense, hyperbole, bullshit, yada, yada, yada. And then there was a certain sentence where the superintendent didn't want to admit to it completely, but did admit to the fact that there were mistakes made and so on and so forth. But she worded it so well as to say yes, but no, if that makes any sense.
Of course.
Because listen, one thing I've learned in that whole situation is that, and being an entrepreneur and a businessman, we're partners and we do a lot of stuff together. When someone fucks up on our company, what happens?
You fucking just say, you know what? I'm sorry. I fucked up. You take your lumps and you don't let it happen again.
Are you and I immune to that?
Absolutely
not.
I am definitely
You're
not.
not.
I'm the king of the fucking lumps.
Am I? Listen, I'm the president, right? But I'm all joking aside. Have I not had whip the dog sessions given to me?
Not only are you the president, but
But
you
also
are the-
remember, my head went there
You could
too.
have went there, but on a serious note,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I am not immune.
No
My-
one is. No
my
one
partners
is.
have had to give me whip the dog sessions many a times. So that's called accountability.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you said, either you're going to make it right or you're going to move on. And the bottom line was, it wasn't make it right and move on. It was, it's okay, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, of course.
You know, it's okay, don't worry. But they're bullies. You know, Seattle's crazy. Delden's crazy. You know, all these guys are crazy. No, we're just crazy, right? The
And you
fact-
care
yeah,
about your kids
yeah.
and the welfare of their
Well, I think
mental
they
state.
confuse crazy with passion, you know, and I
Yeah.
think
Well,
that's
Well, listen, at the end of the day, like I said, if we were wrong, why am I talking about this still? I'm only bringing it up because you brought it up.
And not only
Otherwise,
that,
I really don't give a shit.
And not only that, if you're wrong, why are they still trying to do little shits?
Well, listen, that's passive aggressive natures. You know what I mean? So,
Just look at the camera occasionally, okay?
yeah.
What about this one?
Yeah, but you're not even looking there.
So the passive aggressive nature.
Well, I didn't
of it-
set my seats up. Fucking Leroy must have set my seat up wrong.
You know, the guy
Leroy,
said
thank
so-
you.
Leroy
Thank
set
you,
my seat
Leroy.
up wrong.
Thank you. You going to get the Red Man's Blues in this episode or
Let me
what?
tell you something. I better have some blue shots.
Okay.
I have a bad shoulder, but I'm going to do this. Okay, go.
So, you know, that's really what it comes down to.
your shoulder's fucking struggling. I
Nice,
can
dude.
feel it.
Listen, that's the
Yeah.
one she got shot up. But that's really what it comes down to. I mean, that's the crime in this whole thing, and the fact that you want to turn a blind eye to it. And I think the other greatest thing that I have a lot of fun with, I know you do because we kind of share this, is like, especially the people in that town, parents involved, people that, you know, were on the other side who wanted to run their big mouths and talk bullshit. The fact of the matter is that you know damn well when you see me coming, it parts like the fucking Red Sea. Because you don't have the balls to confront me. Period. Cowards, you're pussies, and you're beneath me. And I wipe my ass with people like you. I'd have a little respect for you if you actually stood your ground and had a normal conversation with me to tell me why we were so wrong.
And it doesn't have to
then-
be aggressive. Let's be honest.
Listen,
It doesn't
look,
have to be that way.
That's it. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It only become aggressive if it has to be.
Right.
Okay? Which has never been my moniker, and this whole process, there's been no aggression.
Right.
But, and to your point, there should have been aggression. And many,
I'm telling
many
you,
a
you
points.
mess with my kids.
Yeah, many a points.
You,
You know.
mess with my kids.
Yeah, but you also, you know, the thing is, I don't think where you get a fair shake is, your definition of aggression is very different than theirs.
Correct.
Where a lot of people will confuse your tonality or your directness
aggression, yeah.
as aggression. Where it's just like, look, I'm just trying to be clear so there's no confusion.
And not only that, you want to see aggression? I'll flip this motherfucking table and show you aggression. That's
right.
That's aggression.
It's true. And
Not me getting a little bit loud.
That's right. And I think on top of the fact, too, listen, I'm the first one to, but listen, he's right. Peter's laughing, but he's right. Because I know, he's my best friend for 40 years, he's right.
You look scarier. He looks
I look
No, I
happy.
get it. Listen,
like a comedian.
I understand that. I understand. He's
I'm a lover at
He's
the
like
end
the
of the day.
Joker on steroids. It's like you got to be careful. But my point is that for me, I'm the first one to admit my delivery can suck. You know, and I know how I carry myself and I'm intimidated. I know all this shit. Okay, but at the end of the day, when I smell your bullshit, okay, that's when.
You got to call him.
That's when it comes out. In this particular instance, there's so much bullshit to smell that you can easily call it out now. So the
And
bottom-
nobody likes smelling bullshit. Let's
No.
just be honest.
And when it comes to your kids, none.
None.
There's a zero tolerance policy. So, like, again, we're putting a close to this shit. But like I said, when we did this, a year ago plus, and I always say to people, I'm like, if this was your kid or your children or your child, how would you react to it? If it was done to your children, one of your kids. How would you react to it?
You know damn well they would react the same way.
They react the same way, if not worse, because they're not strong enough mentally to deal with the way we did.
Right.
You know, they dealt with it.
Or they may even
solve it for you.
What's that?
What would solve it for you?
I don't think it'll ever be solved, Peter, to be perfectly honest with you. And the reason it won't be solved is because it's forced. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? It's forced.
At this point, it's too late
It's
almost.
forced, yeah. It's forced. So now you want to be
You're
enemies?
just reading a script.
Yeah, like it's reading a script, and now you listen. It's no different than I'll give you a forced example. It was a year before it was going into the next football season, and Jeff Delvin got a phone call from the principal at the time, who I think's the biggest piece of shit walking. He's not there anymore because he's a liar. Well, he's a liar. He's a manipulator, and he's a bullshit.
Can you really tell us how you feel, please?
So I call him. I have proof of
Stop
it.
being
He lied to my
PC.
face. He lied to my face. He lied to my face on 3 occasions. So he is.
You're
what he
being
is.
a little PC there.
Yeah.
And we're not talking politically correct, we're
Yeah.
talking Paul Ciano.
But anyway, exactly.
Great new title for a show.
Exactly. My point is that
PC show.
exactly. My point is
I
that
like it.
at the time, Jeff Delvin got a phone call. He was in his car, and it was, "Hey Jeff, I'm here with the head coach and the AD. Could you come in? We'd like to talk to you."
Not you.
Yeah, no, I was not invited.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, no, he was told that I wasn't invited. Yeah. Hey, I wasn't invited. Why?
You
Because
should have told your Republican.
now I am. Listen, at the end of the day, but here's the thing: I wasn't invited, and Jeff was like, basically, no, I'm coming with him, and you call me now. I'm in a business meeting. You know, it was what they wanted to do was like they wanted to circumvent anything that was coming forward, and we'll go through Jeff Delvin. But you people don't understand what loyalty and friendship is. So the reality of it is, it wasn't happening. And regardless of how you perceive me in the situation, guess what? It's happening with me, or it's not happening at all. And you learn the hard way. So lo and behold, it didn't happen for that reason and for scheduling reasons. Then we released the podcast that we put out, and then it was, oh, we're not meeting you, Jeff, now because of the podcast.
Well, they must
Yeah.
have loved that.
Well,
And that
remember,
got great responses.
of course it
that
did.
podcast.
Listen, it got great responses, and
And it got a lot more support than you would think,
and that's the
too.
thing too. Let me get that out there to everyone out there too in this situation, because the people that rallied around this situation
And
individuals-
demonized you guys.
Yeah, demonized. You're minuscule. You're a microcosm in the whole thing. You're a small group of people. Just so you know, a small group who happen to be in positions where you can talk and be heard. Period. But I can tell you on the souls of my children that the majority of that town contacted us privately, instant message, emails, on the street, came to see me in my place of business.
Smoke signals.
Exactly, and we're saying
Carrier pigeons.
what support they have for what we did to expose
I got
the
two of them.
situation. And that's the God's honest truth. May God strike me dead. So the
He's
reality.
not lying. The same thing happened.
Yeah. So the bottom line is, but those people, as much as they want to pat you on the back, they're weak. Because instead of standing up and saying, you know what,
He's right.
they're onto something here, they're right, I'm glad someone finally exposed it, what happens? Listen, it's very simple. When you go into a town in New Fairfield, and when it comes to their athletics, and I'm sure this goes rampant in most small towns, but specifically in that diseased anomaly in New Fairfield, is that all the people that want to dictate policy put themselves in positions of power. Meaning, okay, I'm going to be the gridiron president. Okay, I'm going to be the fundraiser. Okay, I'm going to be the team whatever. I'm going to be X, Y, and Z. So then, when these type of things happen, boom, they put themselves in positions to try and circumvent it. I.e., the gridiron president, where you should have minded your fucking business, okay, because it had nothing to do with you.
Right.
Okay, you have made this situation so inflammatory instead of minding your business. Okay, you are to blame for the reason that it went from a DEFCON 5 to a DEFCON 1. You are the reason, just so you know. And you are the reason why it's never going away. Just so you know. You know who you are. Look at my eyes when I'm talking to you. It's never going away because of you. Period. All right? Because you couldn't mind your own fucking business. And that's the way you've been your whole time in the town. That being said, at the end of the day, like Peter said before,
We got our
how
teaser.
do you close? How do you put closure to this? You can't, because of situations like that. Like I remember when that happened. I turned out to be cliche. I said to the scumbag principal that was there at the time, and Jeff Delvin, and I said to him particularly when that happened, when she decided to start her this gridiron president decided to start the rally cry, you know, because poor me, they're trying to get me fired. I said, you know what? It's like The Godfather Part 3. When I think I'm out, you pull me right back in. You pull me right back in, and that's what you got.
And they're pulling you into a movie that wasn't even that good.
Yeah, but-
I mean,
yeah,
you might
but-
get pulled into the first Godfather or the second. Fine, I'll get pulled back
Well,
in. The third one, it's like.
But the message of The Godfather,
Nah, I
so you
know,
know what I mean?
I
Like,
know.
and I get it. But you pulled me back in, and you pulled another guy back in who were, I hate
You're
to
almost
break the
done.
news to you guys. You think I'm bad? I'm nothing compared to Jeff Delvin when it comes to certain situations and things that were done to his kid. So at the end of the day, did I kind of wrap it up?
No,
I mean,
yeah,
did I give
yeah.
you like, you know?
Broke my hat. You broke my hat.
You know, so it's, I guess, you know, to make a few more statements and let you guys close on it, is that, you know, no, it never was made right. No, there can never be closure. The greatest crime of the whole thing is that what was left in the aftermath with that class and those student athletes. You know, and again, they're in a great place. We see them every day. They're grinding. They're
What are you going to do moving forwards? You just got to think about this from time to time, or people talk to you
no,
about it?
we're still full go.
You're full go?
Oh yeah.
Didn't you hear? It is not ending.
It's full go. Just because it's quiet now doesn't mean it's going to be quiet forever.
So you're not inviting them to your barbecue?
No, never. But like, you know, it's
I'm just happy that I see these individuals working out, getting better, getting bigger, still training and competing in football, which is what they want to do. And at the end of the day,
You know, listen.
that's the one thing
That's the
that's
bottom line.
And that's going to hopefully be one of their motivating factors to say, hey, look, F you guys, look what we turned out.
Well, I think the greater thing to that is that, you know, student athlete, okay. And if we go a little longer, we'll just, you know, I want to get this point, is that they're student athletes, and you got to be a student before you're an athlete, okay. And outside of the athletics and the football teams they're on, these guys are all honor students. They literally are. They're all 3-5
In tough majors, too.
and they're all 3-5 and up majors playing a collegiate sport, which we know, no matter what division, 1, 2, or 3, is a full-time job.
Full-time job.
Okay? And that's really that's the message here. Because I know if you look back, you know, you can't say that about the majority of people that come from that town and been in athletics. Right? So you want to make an example of something, or say, hey, man, this is a standard bearer for what you want to have to come out of your town.
Yep.
There's no greater examples in this. But then when you were demonized the way you were, and you know you were treated the way you were, now it's like, hey, they're like, you know, screw you. I don't, you know.
Right.
Listen, they've moved on.
Thank God.
Yeah, they moved on. They've done what they've had to do, and they continue to do. Like I said, they're here every day. They're getting ready. They got a great coaching staff. They got pros and college coaches getting them ready for the next season. And, you know, there's no looking back. You know what I mean? But
They took lemons and turned it into gourmet lemonade.
yeah, man, it taught you
And,
that. Yeah.
and on that note, we're going to end with lemons into gourmet lemonade.
And it's just some tasty shit.
That cool, refreshing drink.
I love it. Awesome. Cuzzy Frank.
Go Green Wave.
We're going to wrap it up, guys. The Matt Chat Podcast. Paul Ciotto, Frank Ciotto, Blue Eyes, Christopher Shea, Peter Olberg, and his assistant Leroy. Thank you for today's episode.
I'm still shooting arrows in case you're watching.